Hello everybody, James with Love My Pups, my breeder supply. So it's been a while since I did a video, it's been Thanksgiving and I apologise for that. But I get lots of questions about chocolates, testable chocolates, non-testable chocolates, Lilacs, Isabellas, and so I thought I'd go over that. And I've done some of this in the past, but I thought I'd kind of go into this testable versus non-testable chocolate issue. So, right, so I'm gonna, let's just do this. The first thing is that when you do a DNA test and you get it back for your dog, and I'm talking Frenchies here by the way, the other dog's gonna be different, this is absolutely Frenchies. You get a test back and the test comes back as BB. And that is, it's a recessive gene, and it means that it comes back and it appears as though that dog does not have a chocolate gene. A dog that has a chocolate gene and comes back as BB, that is a chocolate dog. The problem is the majority of chocolate genes in Frenchies is not testable. There are two places that a Frenchie can have a chocolate gene, and one of them is documented, and I'm gonna call that one the green one. This one here is testable chocolate. That means that if you have a dog that comes back from a genetic test and it shows it is BB, that is what is called testable chocolate. It's fairly rare. We're getting more and more of them out there because people are interested in this. But your dog could come back as being Big B apparently is not a chocolate dog, but in fact it is chocolate. That is called non-testable chocolate. So we're going to call that what it is, non-testable chocolate. And sometimes this is called mutated chocolate. So what's going on here is there is a gene somewhere on the DNA of a French bulldog, and we don't know where it is. So consequently, we can't test for it, but it is there. So how the heck do you tell if your dog comes back from a DNA test as Big B, if in fact it has chocolate in it? And the answer is if. So let's just call this, we're going to call two versions of this. There's going to be another BB. I wish I had another colour pen here. Well, that's fine. Let's just talk about chocolates and how you can tell if your dog's chocolate. Well, of course, one way is you do a DNA test and it comes back and it's little b. The other way is it looks like it's a chocolate dog. Take it into a completely dark room, turn your cell phone video on so the light's on your video, and take a video of that dog, not a picture. Snapshot won't get it because you may see some red glow in its eyes. The video will show it, and it will look like a demonic red glow in both the dog's eyes. It doesn't show up very well when dogs have just got their eyes open until they're typically a month or two old before it really shows up well. So it can be hard to see it in a puppy, and it's striking in an adult. But if you have a dog that comes back Big B, and it has a red eye glow, then it's a non-testable. It has to have a red eye glow. Now, I see people talking about this and they don't talk about this red eye glow. I personally, and I've been involved in lots and lots of French bulldogs for myself and for other people. I mean, I've now been involved in literally hundreds of chocolate dogs. I have never ever seen a chocolate dog that didn't have a red eye glow. So I've seen plenty of dogs that people think that they're chocolate, but they're actually brindles, and the coat looks a brown colour. They don't have the red eye glow. They come back as Big B, and I'll about guarantee that those are not chocolate dogs. Now, I can't, this is anecdotal evidence. I don't know that I can defend this categorically and say that this is definitely right all the time. But to my experience, this has always been true. So the test is, it comes back as, the other things are, of course, is that you know something about the parentage. You had a lilac parent. You had, both dogs are chocolate. That you've got some things there that lead you to believe that it really is a non-testable dog. Now, what happens if, and I'm going to change this to, we're going to call this BB non-testable. So we can compare that with a regular BB. This is a regular BB. This dog is not a chocolate. It's not chocolate. And it doesn't have an eye glow. Doesn't have eye glow. So that is just your non-chocolate dog. It really is a big B, big B. So then what happens if you get a dog that is got one copy of not chocolate and one copy of non-testable chocolate? Or you get a dog that has got one copy of not chocolate and one copy of testable chocolate. Do they have red eye glow? So the question is, do they have red eye glow? And the answer is no, they do not. No red eye glow. Right, so the problem here is if you've got a dog that somebody's claiming is a chocolate carrier, you can't, and it's not testable, it'll come back big B, but apparently it's got one of these is actually a testable chocolate, is a non-testable chocolate. How do you know that dog carries chocolate? Can't do a test, can't do an ID test, can't do a DNA test. The only way that you can do it is either look at the parents. So both parents, if you have two parents, and one of them is, we'll put these two parents as, one is a chocolate dog, we're going to pull this non-testable here, and the other dog has a copy of non-testable plus a regular chocolate, then this dog looks chocolate, has a red eye glow, this one doesn't. When they mate together, you're going to get some dogs that are that, and you're going to get some dogs that are that. So you'll get some dogs that are chocolate carriers and some dogs that have got two copies of non-testable chocolate. This dog has the red eye glow. Because that dog has the red eye glow, you know that both parents had to have at least had one copy of non-testable chocolate. So I'm going to wipe this off the board now and make more room. So I'm going to get rid of this stuff. We can leave this up here, so we've got that as a reference. I want to explain that again because I think that people miss the point on this quite a bit. If you've got a dog that's chocolate, if you have a chocolate puppy, then you know that it either has to be that or it has to be that. Now, there's some controversy we're going to talk about later on, is would this be a chocolate dog? One copy of testable, one copy of not testable. We're going to approach this here in a moment. We're not going to worry about that right now. But if you have a chocolate dog, a dog that has a red eye glow, you know that it has to have got two copies of non-testable or two copies of testable. And where did that come from? Well, remember, there's two parents involved. There's a dad and there's a mum who both contributed genes to this dog. And since they have to have a copy of chocolate, testable or non-testable, from both parents, you have to know the very least, that this dog has to be this. And this dog has to be at the very least this, a copy of chocolate. Or, if you want to write it as a testable version of it, it has to be at the very least, this is not the right way to draw it, so we'll do it correctly, because you can always do the capital first. Or it has to be a not chocolate dog with a testable version of chocolate, and a non-chocolate dog with a testable chocolate. That has to be true. So get a chocolate dog that has red eye glow. Both parents had to, at the very least, had a copy of chocolate. The problem gets to be is neither of these dogs, in this case, having a single copy of chocolate, show the red eye glow. They can produce puppies that have two copies, because if they give it out right, they give out the right gene in both cases, and you get a dog that has two copies of either testable or non-testable chocolate. So if somebody then says, so this is easy, if you've got a chocolate dog, you know something about the parents at this point. How can you know that a dog categorically has to be chocolate? Well, of course, one way would be that both parents have testable chocolate, or both parents have non-testable chocolate. We know that that offspring for that has to be a chocolate dog, because we'll just take one of these examples. What can it get from one parent? Well, in this case, a copy of non-testable. What can it get from this parent? Well, again, one copy of non-testable. That's all it can get. It has to be a chocolate dog. So 2 chocolate dogs produce a chocolate dog every time. These dogs have to have red eye glow. So does this guy here. Let's go one step further and talk about lilacs for a moment. So a lilac is a dog that is both blue, got my markers mixed up, is both a blue dog, which is little d, and it's a chocolate dog, which is either going to be a non-testable chocolate dog or a testable chocolate dog. In both cases, that produces a lilac dog. It looks blue, you can test for blue, shows up on a genetic test as little d, and it either shows up on the test as little b, testable chocolate, or it is non-testable chocolate. In all cases, it has to have red eye glow. In this bottom example, the one that's d, little b, nobody's going to argue this because the genetics came back. The issue gets to be this here. Is this a lilac dog? And the answer is it has to test for blue, dilution gene, and it has to have red eye glow. And if it does, it is a lilac dog. Okay. So now let's talk about Lilacs and Isabellas. So an Isabella dog is a lilac dog that has 2 copies of testable chocolate. And that is an Isabella. I'm probably going to spell it wrong, so if I do, don't write to me and tell me. That's an Isabella. Versus the much more common situation is a dog that has non-testable chocolate, and that is just called a lilac. So that's the Isabella, testable chocolate. That's not an Isabella, it's just a straight lilac. This is a lilac dog, but it just has testable chocolate. And it's interesting because there is a difference in the look of an Isabella versus just a regular chocolate dog. And I don't have a lot of experience with this. I don't have an Isabella. I do have one dog that has a single copy of testable chocolate. So I know a little bit about this and the dogs these produce, but I'm certainly not as well informed as a lot of people out there about this non-testable chocolate in terms of the color that you actually produce. But I can tell you this, there is a difference in the look of a chocolate dog that's testable versus one that's not testable in most cases. What I see is the non-testable dogs tend to have a really fairly deep, rich, dark chocolate kind of coat, versus the Isabellas, it's more of a milk chocolate. And so certainly in the Isabellas, I think you see this. So what happens in a lilac dog is a chocolate dog that's been modified by the DD gene, which is a dilution gene. It basically washes out the color. And so you take the chocolate and that chocolate gets washed out by the dilution gene, and this ends up with a more milky looking color in a chocolate and more lighter color in a lilac and an Isabella. So you certainly can't go off color and say, oh, look at that dog, and that's a lilac and that's not, that's an Isabella and it's not. You've got to go back to the genetics, and you've got to know what's going on with these dogs, because without that, you're going to make a mistake. All right, let's put that back up there for a second. So now the next thing is, and this one is something that you don't see a lot of things on the internet about it, and I've got a little bit of anecdotal evidence on what I've seen, but the question is this: what happens if you put if you mate these 2 dogs together? If you take a testable chocolate and a non-testable chocolate, what color is the dog? So you take these 2 dogs, you breed them together, you always will get a testable chocolate and a non-testable dog. Now the question is that a chocolate dog? Well, my experience with this is it does have a red eye glow, and it is a chocolate. However, I don't have a lot of experience with this, and I can tell you that I've talked to a number of people. In fact, I'm fixing to probably do a breeding with one of my boys to a customer's dog who's a testable chocolate. We're going to find out what we get from this, I think. But the answer is my limited experience on this has been that they do have a red eye glow, and they do look chocolate, and so I believe that those are chocolate dogs. But talking to some people, especially people who do the DNA testing, they say it's kind of a crapshoot. You may get it, you may not. And if you think about what's going on here, on the DNA strand of a dog, there is a location somewhere where there is, and forget the black and the green, they're not symbolic of these at all, they're just talking about the DNA, that's all. There is a place on the strand of the DNA for a dog that is the location for testable chocolate. And if that dog has the right pattern at that location, then it comes back as this and it's testable chocolate. There is another place somewhere else on its DNA strand that is also responsible for chocolate. It's called mutated chocolate. And we don't know where that is on this whole strand of DNA. We just don't know where it is. So we can't run a test to find out where that thing is. So we have to go off this red eye glow or know about the parents of the parents. But this one is reliable and it works every time. So testable chocolate, and I would guess that probably 1 in 10 or less Frenchies are testable chocolate. 9/10 or more are those that are chocolate are non-testable chocolates. I think this will change because people are seeking this out and paying more money for dogs that have testable chocolate because it makes all of this more reliable. But and again, I'm kind of in, this is uncharted territory. I don't think anybody can give you a definitive answer on this because I can tell you that people would tell you, that doesn't produce a chocolate dog. I know it does, but I don't know that it does it every time because my experience is limited. And talking to people who do the DNA tests, is they'll say it's kind of a crapshoot. Some of them will tell you that it doesn't happen. Some will tell you it's a crapshoot. So this is kind of interesting stuff, and I mean we're going to find out more about this as time goes on. But so for right now, what should you be doing? Well, I mean, if you've got testable chocolate, then that's great. You know what's going on. If you don't have testable chocolate, you've got to know it because you know the dog has a red eye glow, or you know it carries a copy of chocolate because of its parentage. And then the real question then becomes is if you have a dog that's non-testable chocolate, the more likely version of it, what happens if you put that with a testable chocolate dog? Do you get chocolate dogs that you wanted to get or not? So, presumably, you can get a dog that is BB, non-testable chocolate, and is also, testable chocolate, and also is also got markers for non-testable chocolate too. It's got the best of both worlds. There's dogs out there that have that. Now, how exactly you know you had that dog would be difficult because this is going to tell you it's chocolate and you won't know. This is going to be a difficult thing to find out. But presumably there are Frenchies out there that are like this, that can produce chocolates regardless of what the heck's going on. Anyway, that was really it. I just wanted to, I hope I haven't confused people on this. It is a little bit confusing on this testable, non-testable part of the whole thing. But certainly, you can get chocolates that can't be testable and they will have red eye glow, and you can get dogs that are testable and those can then produce lilacs that we call Isabellas. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I hope this is useful to you. If it's not, you think we're full of rubbish, let us know. If you want more of it, let us know. Be nice to your animals. Bye.